What's going on, my Central Unit Galaxy? It's the Central Man here. So this is episode 5 of the MCU movie review series. So today I'm reviewing the 5th movie of Phase 1, that is Captain America, the First Avenger. This movie was released in July of 2011, 22nd of July in America, 29th of July in the UK. So far in Phase 1, this is the best movie. I'm not going to talk about the whole of the plot of this film, it'd be too long. I'm trying to keep this movie review about 40 minutes long. If I do it 1 hour, I'll be stumbling a lot, you know. I don't want to do that. I'm trying to keep it about 30 to 40 minutes. Anyway, so let's talk about the cast of this film. Steve Rogers, Captain America, was played by Chris Evans. I like Chris Evans. You know, he plays that role as this heroic American hero. You know the story of Steve Rogers, Captain America. He was skinny for the army, and then he joins the army, joins the super soldier program, and he takes the super serum, and he becomes Captain America. I like Chris Evans in that role in the 3 Captain America movies, you know, First Avenger, Winter Soldier, Civil War, and then the 4 Avengers films. He nailed that role. This is not his first gig in a superhero film. He's been in a lot of superhero films in the past before he became Captain America. My first exposure to Chris Evans has to be in the Fantastic Four films in the mid to late 2000s. And also he was in another superhero film called Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It's all about, this is a Michael Cera film. It's all about, like, there's a dude dating like a girlfriend. He has to fight the girlfriend's ex-boyfriends. It also had Brandon Routh in that film. Brandon Routh, who plays Superman in Superman Returns. I've seen some clips of it, never seen the full movie of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It looks good. I might review that film in the future. That is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. That was released in 2007, the same year as Spider-Man 3, and also as Fantastic Four 2: Rise of the Silver Surfer. That was a terrible film. It's way better than the 2015 Fantastic Four film. I don't want to get into it, so. You know, they did a lot of CGI of this character because, you know, in real life, you know, because Chris Evans is tall, he's muscular. But in this movie, in the first movie, Steve Rogers is skinny. You know, he's about 94 pounds. You know, he got rejected from the army because he was too skinny, he had some health issues. They did a lot of computer graphics, CGI, you know, putting like Chris Evans' body, his head into the other person's body, a small person's body, to look like he's small. And also some, CGI, computer generated, and he does the same thing like no one can do. You know, there was one scene in the army boot camp, you have the soldiers are doing push-ups, Steve cannot do the push-up properly. You know, like, I give credit to Chris Evans. You know, he's a fit lad. He said it in the first movie. He did like a promotion of the first movie. He said he doesn't like to working out, you know. He doesn't like to pick up heavy weights, you know. And also doesn't like eat that much. You know, like same as a bodybuilder, getting the calories. You know, he's a humble guy. He's still in good shape after the Captain America films, you know. I think... What's the recent movie it's called? It's called Knife Out, and he's still in good shape. He's still in. I think he's still in good shape. He trains that well. I'm not saying he like gives up training. Otherwise, he'd be a different person. He might be like, I don't think he'd be skinny. He'll be fat, but he's not like the type of person who's into fitness. Anyway, You got Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter. They're going into that love interest part, another love interest so far in Phase 1 of the MCU. You had Tony Stark with Pepper Potts, Bruce Banner, Hulk with Betty Ross, and you got Thor with Jane Foster. Now you got Steve Rogers with Peggy Carter. Peggy's different than Betty Ross, Pepper Potts, Jane Foster. She's like this heroine, not heroin, the drug, but I call it heroinist, basically she's a badass, she can, she's a strong, independent woman, she fight her own battles, There's one scene, they're in the boot camp, some cocky guy, basically, he said about he thinks he's joined the British Army, or thought he joins the US Army, because because Haley Atwell, Peggy Carr's from Britain, and basically you had Peggy punched. I think his name's Gilmore Hodge, and he punched him in the face. That was funny. I kind of laughed my ass off in that bit. You know, in this movie between Peggy and Steve, they kind of there's some glimpses, some feelings between Peggy and Steve. They had some feelings to each other. You know, there's one scene like Steve really they're driving on the car. And Steve talked about Peggy, how he got beaten up in alleyways, and Peggy talked to Steve, "You never been around a woman." I think that's kind of true because Steve is, before took the super serum, he's a small dude, like I said. Maybe he's never been around a woman. Maybe insecure about his height and weight compared to another person that I get to a little bit shortly. Yeah, there's one scene like they're going after Red Skull. I'll talk about him a little bit shortly. They were like kissing. You got like you got Chester Phillips. I'll get to him a little bit later. You had Peggy and Steve kissing. They did. They get really. You could tell there was. I don't think it kind of established like a going into that love. Relationship. Sorry, I kind of stumbled. A love relationship between Steve and Peggy. And something about, like, in the end of the movie, nearly end, I should say, like, when Steve's, like, because the plane crashed into the Arctic, said about, like, Peggy asking, Steve about a slow dance in a club. I think she called it, like, the Stork Club. Said about, like, something about a slow dance, and it was at 8 o'clock on the dot, don't be late. Unfortunately, he's not going to make it because he was surrounded in a block of ice. He was frozen in ice for 70 years. Never got a chance to dance with Peggy. And then at the end of Endgames, they got that dance, that slow dance and kiss. I'll get to Endgames when we get past Phase 1 and Phase 2. Anyway, I think she plays the character damn well. She plays like she's. You don't see her in a proper action scene. With her. She had her own show called Agent Carter. I'll get to it later on in this review. Anyway, let's get to the rest of the characters in the cast of Captain America: The First Avenger. Anyway, Bucky Barnes, played by Sebastian Stan. I like the character. He plays Steve's best friend. I don't see any glimpses in the first movie. His character got killed off. Before I get to the rest of it, I'm talking about some of the plots and the characters and the cast at the same time. I'm trying to keep, like I said, 30 or 40 minutes long. Don't want to bore people to death. Anyway, if you like it, hey, more power to you. If you don't. Anyway, so back to, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes. You don't see any bit of a character development with Bucky Barnes. I want to say James Buchanan Barnes. That's his real name. James Buchanan Barnes. But friends call him Bucky. So Bucky, not a lot of character development in the first movie. He got killed off in the second act or close to the third act of the film. They're in this train trying to get Armanzola. He's basically Red Skull, Johann Schmidt's lackey, his sidekick. There was this big robot, or I think it was a robot or a dude wearing this type of suit with a shooter. Yeah, he basically got blow up. The train was blow like a massive hole, and Bucky was holding like this rails, and he kind of fall off the cliff. And you thought, I think back in 2011, you thought, oh, Bucky's dead. This is for like the casual movie fan. But if everyone knows, like the comic book fans knows he's gonna be someone else. And that's 2011. Back right. I watch it right now in 2021. Like nearly 10 years later, it'll be 10 years in the summer, but a decade later, everyone knows he's going to be the Winter Soldier. That set up the sequel, The Winter Soldier. I mean, they did in the second movie. They did. I think they did Sebastian Stan dirty in this movie. I don't understand. I understand they're trying to make the character dark and mysterious, but anyway, I'll get to the Winter Soldier after I complete Phase 1. We're nearly there. We've got this movie, Captain America: First Avenger, and then you got the first Avengers movie. Anyway, so I don't really see any more character development in this movie. that, it's a shame, but in future installments, we saw some glimpses of his new character. Anyway, you got Hugo Weaving as Red Skull, Johann Schmidt. He's the main baddie in this movie. Red Skull, so far in the MCU, I think he's in the top 5 for me. One of the best villains in the MCU, alongside Loki and Thanos and what's his name? Justin Hammer, played by Sam Rockwell, Obadiah Stine. He plays this mad scientist, not mad scientist, but he's basically working with Hitler. They mention Hitler, they mention Nazis. I understand they're trying to keep it, they don't want to make it into a controversial film. Yeah, this movie is set in the 40s. That was, basically, it's set in World War II. They're trying to mix and combine real life, reality world to the Marvel world all together. Instead, Nazis got replaced by Hydra. They did the Hell Hydra instead of doing the Schwarzenegger. Yeah, you can still do a World War II film, depending on what the age rate is. Sometimes you gotta be very careful in movies. You don't want to piss off, or you don't want to do too much racist. You get away. What the fuck I'm saying? Anyway, I can't say it. Hail Hydra is basically doing the 2 salutes. I don't know. I think the Red Skull's trying to be their version of Adolf Hitler. He played that character damn well. It's a shame that the character got killed off. Basically, in the beginning of the movie, they went to in the first beginning of the movie, they'd gone to Norway. Hydra invaded Norway. We got glimpses of the Tesseract. It's basically the cube. We saw it in the post-credit scene of Thor. It planted the seeds. It tells a little bit of the story in the first Captain America movie. We saw a glimpse of it. It's glowing. They had some weapons. They're able to vaporize your opponents. He basically vaporized the head leaders of Hydra. They're trying to kick him out for being mad, because that's just part of his character. He's a bit mad. I don't know, a bit of a nutter. He killed 3 of his Hydra companions, because they're trying to kick him out of Hydra, Anyway, it's a shame that he's not coming back. He's not back, because Red Skull got self-proclaiming disappeared, but I think he got sent to another dimension or another planet. Red Skull returns years later, 7 years later, at Infinity War, the third Avengers movie in 2018, and then in 2019 Endgames. But it won't be Hugo Weaving. Was it Weaving? That was a different actor. I think Hugo Weaving's I think he's English. I thought he was German, but he's English. Anyway, so let's get to the rest of the cast. I'm trying to keep it short and simple. Anyway, so, not short and simple, but we've got plenty of time. But anyway, we got Tommy Lee Jones as Chester Phillips. I liked Tommy Lee Jones. My first exposure to him is the Men in Black films, the first movie and the second movie. And also I watched the Batman movie from, I think it was the 1995 film, with Val Kilmer. He plays the Two-Face in that film. In this movie, he plays that well. I don't know. I don't talk about much of character developments. He plays his character damn well. He plays this, I think he's a colonel or general. He's a bit strict, a bit ruthless and strict. He's a bit sarcastic as well. He kind of judged Steve in the movie, when he was, skinny Steve before the serum. There's one scene before they're doing I think they were doing push-ups and jumping jacks or star jumps. Phillips kind of throw the grenade at. They're trying to throw the grenade. Steve basically, instead of get out of the way, he kind of holding on the grenade. He's ducking and holding the grenade. Glad the grenade did not explode, otherwise Steve would be dead. But you can tell it's fake grenades. He said to Upkine, he's so skinny. And also, there's one scene Armin Sola, sorry, trying to get his name properly, can't pronounce it that well. Armin Zola. There was one scene when they captured Zola. Armin Zola, not Jan Frockel Zola, the Chelsea player. You got Armin Zola. They're in this prison cell, and Phillips trying to intimidate Zola with there was like offering him some steak. There was steak, potatoes, broccoli, and a glass of milk. He's interrogating him. That was good. It's a shame that character never came back, because I thought he'll probably come back in Endgames, because when Steve and Tony travel back in time. I thought, yeah, because I think it has to do. I think the character did not die in this movie. I think he died a very long time ago after the war because of his age. Look at Tommy Lee Jones right now. He's in his. I think I checked his age right now. Not right now, but when I trying to do my research and review the movie. Watch, research, and review him right now. That he's 74 years old, nearly 75. He's nearly in his mid-70s. I think 10 years ago he's in his mid-60s. He aged. I'm not saying he's like too old. He played his role damn well. I think in Men in Black 3 you can tell age starting to catch up with Tommy Lee Jones as I think it was Jay. That was played by Will Smith. Anyway. So let's talk about another character, Stanley Tucci as Abraham Erskine. I almost compare him. I'm trying to. You got Oberheim. I keep saying Oberheim. Like Oberheim. That's Jeff Bridges' character from the first Iron Man film. Was it Oberheim Solar? That's Toby Jones's character. I'll get to him shortly. Abraham Erskine. Sorry, I'm trying to get the names. I think they got like A and E. That's the reason why I'm trying to pronounce it. It's getting confusing. It's like Jesus Christ. So anyway, Stanley Tucci as Abraham Erskine. He's basically this scientist working with the Americans, the good side. He was basically take Steve under his wing. He met him like he joined the army. Said about he wants to kill some Nazis. And Steve says, "Is that the test?" It's about like the 5 chances and also in the scene when they're in the army, Steve was in his bed in the cabin, and Erskine talk about Johann Schmidt. I'm guessing like he got killed off in this movie. They're in this Peggy and Steve going to this antique shop. And basically, you got this woman, I'm guessing he was the owner of this antique shop, basically press a button, and all of a sudden they enter this secret lab, and then Steve, gets the super serum, go into that pod, gets the super serum, and boom, he's Captain America. And then you got this assassin, represent Hydra, basically trying to sabotage, basically explode like the standings, the balcony, in the secret lab, shot, Upkind dead, and then run. And he got killed off, and he's part of the reason why they're doing this super soldier program. And I think he died. Said about the formula of the super serum was gone because he's the only one who created that. And also, he talks about. I think he was the reason why I think that assassin killed him because he used to. I think it worked with Schmidt and Hydra, and then. He now is joining the good side. Could be the reason. I do not know. Anyway, I'm gonna think. It's really shocking. This movie had Neil McDonough in this movie. Never knew he's in that movie. Jesus Christ, man. I know him. I watched Damien Dark. He's Damien Dark in Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. Jesus Christ, in his movie. I don't know what's his character's name in this film. He plays one of the soldiers. He played that well. He had that cool tash. Jesus Christ, man! I didn't recognize his face. And also had David Bradley in this movie. He only had one scene in this movie, because you got Hydra invaded Norway. Schmidt find the Tesseract, the cube. Before they found it in one of the coffin, not graveyard, but the coffin. But it was a fake. They managed to find it, and it shot David Bradley's character in. I don't think it was probably the chest or the shoulder area, and his blood. The blood kind of splattered into the badge, the Hydra badge, when Schmidt is wearing. Yeah, and also like when they get into the lair, the Hydra lair, when they captured like Bucky and the rest of the U.S. soldiers. They basically had the first fight between Steve and, I call him Cap, Cap and, Red Skull, he removed the mask, and yeah, you can tell it's makeup. You know, at least it's not CGI. You imagine they did a CGI? Jesus Christ, man. That would be like, yeah, sometimes in films, sometimes if they do CGI, sometimes it'll be good, and sometimes it'll be cheesy. So, let's talk about Toby Jones. He plays Ohain Zola, that's his name. Unfortunately, you never see him after this movie. I think he appeared in the Peggy Carter film. Sorry, not film, but Peggy Carter series. They call it Agents of Carter. I think a little bit, and then he came back in Captain America 2: The Winter Soldier. Because I'm gonna talk about right now. I might tell it again when I review Winter Soldier. He came back as a computer because he said about he died about like in the 70s. His body, he didn't mention he got cancer. He's got terminal disease, and his mind was gone into. He kind of went to a computer. He kind of like updated to a computer. I think in the comics, I watch a lot of like superhero shows on TV and movies, whether it's Marvel, DC. I think like the Omahain, Omahain Zola is basically his mind was in a supercomputer in the comics and TV shows. He became a supervillain. In the Winter Soldier, he's inside a computer. I think like the body was dead, and he took his mind and put it in a supercomputer. He's basically a supercomputer, and then in the comics and TV shows, he's a super robot. I could see that Ohain Sola back in future Marvel movies. Probably, yeah, I could see it's not the last. I think the reason why they're not, it's a shame that he's never, appeared in future movies so far. I thought he could be part of, Captain America 3. I think the best thing should have brought him back is Captain America 3, not Winter Soldier, Civil War. I think that's the best chance, but unfortunately, he's not coming back. Oberheim Zola, or whatever his name is. I'll call him Zola. It's getting fucking confusing, man. I'm not really a hardcore comic book fan. I watch my superhero shows and TV movies in TV and cinemas. That's just me. Anyway, so I think that's most of the cast. Nick Fury. Samuel L. Jackson returned as Nick Fury. He appeared in the ending of the movie. He came back in the post credits. Said to Steve, the world needs saving. It's planting the seeds of the first Avenger movie. Steve waked up 7 years into the future. I think he said about there was a woman dressed up like old school army gear, not army gear, preparing for war. He said about he doesn't know where he is, and he said about that. I think it was a Dodgers game, or was it Yankees Dodgers game from 1941. I was there, and said he found out it was a set. He was in this movie set. He left the building. He found out it's not the 40s anymore because he's from 2011. The present day with electrical billboards. It's in New York. It's in Brooklyn, and he ends this movie. He says, "I have a date. Date with Peggy," and that was it. Let me see. Think. I'm trying to talk about. Anyway. The locations. Let's talk about locations a little bit. I know back in 2011, I got friends who college knows that some bit of the film's gonna be filmed in Manchester. I think the scene they're trying to stop Steve stopping the assassin. I think they took the capsule of the super serum shot up kind. He's basically Steve. His body. He's trying to get used to his new body. He crashed through a window when Peggy's he shot the assassin's getaway driver in the head. He's trying to shoot him, but instead Steve actually took down Peggy, and then Peggy said, it's funny, Peggy said, I have him, and say sorry, and he crashed through a window, and he said sorry again. I think it was in Deansgate. Heard it's in Manchester, LA, Liverpool, Wales. Not in Germany. I don't know why they didn't do it in Germany. They could do it in the Black Forest. That's just me. Anyway, so I'm talking about the assassin scene. He's chasing the assassin. The assassin basically got away with a yellow taxi. Steve, climbed onto the taxi, the roof of the yellow taxi, and the assassin trying to shoot Steve on the top of the roof. I think Steve got shot in the lat. I don't think he's not bulletproof. He's not Luke Cage. He uses the taxi door as a shield with the star. That's planting the seeds of Cap having the shield. There's two. They use two type of shields in this movie. You had the original. You had the shield with the You had the armor-based shield, and the traditional Captain America shield. It's one with the. Go and look up on the YouTube or watch the movie. He has this shield-looking shield and typical Captain America shield, the circle one. Anyway, so back to the assassin scene. He kidnaps a kid, grabs the kid, trying to shoot the kid in the head. He ran out of bullets. He thrown the kid into the water, and it's a funny part. The kid said to Steve, "Go and get him. I know how to swim." I think he thinks about he's about to drown. He's a small kid, but instead he knows how to swim. That's a bit funny. He goes into water because the assassin trying to escape in a submarine. Steve swims underwater, break the window ceiling of the submarine, grab the assassin, throw him out of the water, and then said, "Who are you?" And said, was it the most of many? He said he basically commits suicide. It was a black piece in his mouth, and he commits suicide. He's paralyzed he's got foam around his mouth. In the final words, he said, "Hail Hydra." Anyway, that was the most talked about part in this movie. Yeah. Let me see. I'll talk about. And here's a good fun trivia. This is Chris Evans as Captain America is not the first person to play Captain America. The last time they did it was way back in 1990, about nearly 20 years since first Avenger. That was a TV movie. That was Red Brown. That was the name. He was the original guy playing Captain America. He was in a movie called Cage. That was alongside Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk. That was in like 80s and 90s. And then they did a movie in 40s. It was a black and white movie or cartoon of Captain America. It's a fun trivia. There's 3 in its history. I don't know who's the black and white Captain America in that movie or TV show way back then. Red Brown was basically the Captain America of the 90s. And now in 2011 slash 2019, because his contract expired. That was Chris Evans. People talk about Chris Evans to this day. I think people don't know what Red Brown is. I think that was a cartoonish version. There was the time that superhero movies or TV shows are not getting over and not taking it seriously, instead of the Batman films, with Michael Keaton and Chris Reeves. But besides that, Punisher. That was 1989. Got Dolph Lundgren in it. I don't think didn't do well. Anyway, so the end credits was good. I seen the end credits, man. They had imagery of you had Uncle Sam and tanks and missiles. It's really good. Go and check it out. I'm trying to describe it. I also had the song called, was it the Star Spangled Man? There was one scene like Cap, Steve was dressing up Captain America costume. I think it's a throwback to the comics. Like a bit of an Easter egg with the comic version of Captain America with the wings around it. Yeah, the helmet with the wings, and go and check it. I'm trying to explain it. He basically, he did like a concert. Fans, you had women singing the Star Spangled Man. You had a guy dressed like Hitler, and basically Cap is punching Hitler 200 times around America, and also he's kissing a baby. He's in movies, living the life. And I think like when he found out Bucky got captured, he thought he was dead. He didn't want to be this guy. I think like this Brandt, he was a senator. He knows like Steve, his heroic efforts. He promoted him instead of like joining the army. he's basically doing this comedy thing, being the superhero, being the superhero in the TV, in movies, and was it Broadway? That's more like a Broadway performance. He basically missed the act, trying to save Bucky. He had to confront Red Skull in the lair, and when the lair exploded, they teased it like he's dead. Bucky and Steve died, but they teased it. He thought, oh, he's dead, but instead all his recruits marched to the U.S. Trent. Like, he was taken as a joke before they saved their lives, because in Italy, the U.S. Army basically taking the piss out of Steve. I think some of them throwing like tomatoes at him. One showed his ass at Steve. It's kind of funny. There was no edginess in this movie. I understand you do get swearing in this movies, in any type of Marvel movies, or even superhero movies, like asshole, bitch, shit. It's what it is. You're not gonna get like, if they just say like cheesy stuff, it'll be so cheesy. But anyway, this movie is good. Anyway, the origin was good. It's all about like this small guy from Brooklyn trying to join the army, trying to become a hero. And I see, in the scene, like when Bucky fell off the cliff, Chris Evans cried. Steve cried because he saw, his friend fall to his death. That's a load of baloney. But he came back at Winter Soldier. And I've never seen like emotion looks of Chris Evans in that movie, in any type of movie. I think he cried a little bit. He found out like Peggy dies. His love of his life died. She would die of old age. That was like 70 years after he got frozen in the Arctic. But seeing Bucky, they're in this the pub or the bar. I think they're in Europe or in America. I think they're in Europe. Basically, it was really destroyed, by the barmans by Hydra. Yeah, they say Nazis in this movie. Basically they're in this really broken down bar. Steve is drinking I think what kind of alcohol, feels sorry by himself, because I think he got himself to it because I think he blamed himself because I think he thought he's going to say like, if he did not join the army, Bucky will be still alive. He thinks about himself, but he chose to be a hero. And he did, he chose to be in the army. Now he saw it. And there's a funny part that, not funny part, there's one scene in the beginning part, they're in the cinema, and you got this heckler says, come on, show in the movie. They're showing like a World War II recruitment film, and Steve says, show respect, and he's still saying, play the cartoon, would you shut up, and then Steve got beaten up in the alleyway by some guy, and they're planting the seeds of the Captain America shield. Because Steve grabs like a bin can, the can lid, and he, and the guy keeps punching him in the face, and he said, "You never give up," and and Steve says, "I can do this all day." He kind of said it in the end of, they got captured by Hydra. You had Schmidt, Red Skull punched him in the face, and what Steve says, "I can do it all day." He did it in Civil War in the fight between Cap, Iron Man, and Bucky, the Winter Soldier. I done my research that in the comics and the TV shows, not TV shows, but I watched there was like an episode about Captain America, when he got froze in the block of ice in the Arctic, that Bucky was a boy, they're trying to make, because Bucky Barnes is basically the Robin of the Marvel Universe. And then, Winter Soldier is the Nightwing of the Marvel Universe. Yeah, Bucky Barnes is basically the Dick Grayson of the Marvel Universe. He was in the comics, and basically in Avengers, was it Earth Mightiest Heroes, he was a boy. And in the live action movie, he's a man. He's probably, I think he's older or a little bit in the same age as Steve. Bucky Barnes, he was, I understand why they want an adult playing Bucky Barnes. If you had a kid, I think it'd be a little bit cheesy, like Omheim Solar. It could come back as a villain, as a supercomputer robot. He is a supercomputer. I understand why they let them out in future movies. If they had a boy in it, that would be cheesy. Sometimes superhero comics, they do that sometimes. they change up the comics bits, because if they copy the whole comic, it might not work. Sometimes it might not work in, doing copying something in a book or comics will never work out in live action. They did, sometimes in movies and TV shows they changed their plans. In Harry Potter films they changed, something. They changed, they don't copy from the books. Same as Game of Thrones, same as The Walking Dead. Actually, The Walking Dead is based on the comic. Yeah, it'll never work. It'll be cheesy, over the top. Anyway, so yeah, I covered most of it. Like I said, I don't want to go into it too much. I watched this on the Disney Plus app, and also they showed a trailer after the post-credit scene. Before that, you had Stan Lee as a general, because after Cap saved everyone from Hydra. He was supposed to be I'm guessing in America, receiving his medal. Unfortunately, he's still in London, figuring out the plans, with the map, with plans of the American, still working in London. And also, they're in the pub as well. I don't want to get into it, but you had Stan Lee in another cameo as the general. I don't know what he said. I don't want to get into it, but I like Stan Lee in these cameos, man. He was in the first two Iron Man movies. He was portraying as Hugh Hefner and Larry King. In the Incredible Hulk movie, he was about to drink the juice with Bruce Banner's blood. I don't think he'll turn into a super Stan Lee's version of the Hulk, because he created the Hulk, Stan Lee. And then in Thor, trying to trying to grab Thor's hammer, his truck ripped off, his back of the truck was ripped off. And now he's the general. I don't know why he said in the cameo. Don't want to get into it. Anyway, so in the post credit scene, you had Steve Rogers. I'm gonna talk more about the post credit. Yeah, you had Steve basically punching bag. They did the same scene in the Avengers. He's punching the punching bag, and Nick Fury said about Steve asked Nick, what did I get back in the world? He said about the world is saving, it's planting the seeds of Loki, and then you got the trailer of the first Avengers movie that was released in May of 2012. That'll be the next movie review of this series. Anyway, this origin was good. I'm not saying it's super perfect. You're not gonna have a really perfect origin movie. You can have a good one, but you never have a perfect one. It's too difficult. I think they did well. Like how this scrawny kid become, a scrawny kid from, not kid, but a scrawny person from Brooklyn became this basically Earth mightiest hero, the first Avenger, this all-American hero. I think they did well. Bucky's character, it was good, but not great. Because Steve saved him. And then he got, basically fell off fell off the cliff. I'll talk about him while I review Winter Soldier. The love interest of Peggy Carter. There was another character I forgot to talk about, is Howard Stark. That was played by Dominic Cooper. Dominic Cooper, it was good. There's two guys playing the same character, Howard Stark. Howard Stark is the father of Tony Stark, the future Iron Man. You got Dominic Cooper, who plays the younger version of Howard Stark, and then the older version of Howard Stark, who got killed off in Civil War, the third Captain America movie. That was played by John Slattery. Almost called him Jack Slattery. I thought his name is Jack. No, it's John Slattery. He plays the older version of Howard Stark. He plays good. He plays good in this movie. There was funny parts, and also had Jenna Coleman in this movie. She had like one or two lines in this movie. They appeared in the expo, and she's not super famous yet. She's famous in England. She appeared in a English soap called Emmerdale. It's based in the north of England, a county called Yorkshire. She plays the female. She plays the niece of a vicar. Character names called Jasmine Thomas, and then she appeared in Waterloo Road, that was set in Manchester. Lindsay, I don't know what's her surname in that TV show. And then she appeared in Captain America for a cup of coffee, and then she plays Claudia in Doctor Who. When Peter Capaldi as the Doctor, and then Matt Smith, and then she's Queen Victoria. I think the Doctor Who and Queen Victoria made her super famous. She appeared, yeah, she. Also, they had Natalie Dormer in this movie. Surprisingly, she was in this movie. She kissed Steve in the U.S. Army headquarters. That proves that Captain America is a ladies' man. She kissed Natalie Dormer's character, Peggy Carter in the same movie, Black Widow in Winter Soldier, and Peggy's niece in Civil War. Yeah, this movie is successful. They did set up 2 sequels in the next couple of years. Winter Soldier in 2014, 3 years later, and then Civil War in 2016. And also they set up a spin-off show called Agent Carter. I think they did 3 seasons, I think it was 3 seasons, and before they cancel it. I think it has to do with poor ratings. That could be the reason. I don't want to get into it. I haven't really watched it. I heard about it, but never saw it. It's on the Disney Plus app. I might give it a shot, and one day might review Season 1 of Agent Carter. I think some of the characters from the first Captain America movie appeared in Agent Carter. I've not really showcased Peggy Carter more because we've never seen Peggy kicking Hydra's army's ass. You have to see it in the TV show of Agent Carter. Anyway, so my final rating. Before that, I remember now what Stanley's character in the cameo said. Because when Cap failed to show up in America to receive his medal, you had Stanley dressing up like a general says, "I thought he was taller." Bit of a side note. The story of Captain America: First Avenger is a 5 out of 5. This is the best movie from Phase 1. The start of this review, I say this is the best movie of Phase 1 of the MCU. It's a good origin movie. Not a perfect one, but this was good. It told a good story. I was intrigued. They mix, World War II in real life into the Marvel Universe. It set up sequels in the future. The TV show, not too much. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my review of Captain America: The First Avenger. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button. And subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube for more wrestling videos, Marvel videos, Marvel Cinematic Universe movie reviews, and my review of WandaVision Series 1. Next time, we've got the final movie of Phase 1 of the MCU. That is Avengers Assemble from 2012. And this is the Central Man officially signing out. Captain America: The First Avenger. I give it thumbs up.